Hello and welcome to the HerVoice Podcast. This is the first episode. How is everybody doing?
I'm good, Angela. I'm tired. It's week 6 and I'm knackered.
Fair. So my name is Angela. I am the podcast coordinator for this year. I'm a first year Mint student and I'm the one kind of conducting this entire podcast, editing, getting it all together.
Yeah, so my name is Lora Doyle and I am the chairperson for this year. I am a third year journalism student, finally. I had to repeat a year, so it's taken me a minute to get here. And from my job as chairperson, I basically just keep all the clogs in the society running. I have a really good committee this year, so everyone just kind of does their own thing and I just make sure that things happen. So Aoife, would you like to introduce yourself?
Absolutely. So my name is Aoife and I'm a final year economics, politics and law student. So don't ask me why I've spent all my time in HerCampus, but I'm the secretary for this year. So basically I just kind of send out emails, take minutes of meetings, and I'd be one of the points of contact in the committee if anyone kind of has any queries or questions. So yeah, I love HerCampus and I'm so excited to get stuck into this podcast.
So my name is Alice Jack. I'm the deputy editor for HerCampus this year. I'm studying law and French. I'm also a first year, and I honestly came across HerCampus by a severe chance on Instagram, and I am so happy that I have, because I'm working with such an incredible group of girls all year. It's going to be so exciting. And now we have this podcast, which is really cool if you ask me. I wouldn't get to do this if I wasn't in HerCampus. So thank you, HerCampus, I guess.
Yeah, thanks Laura for accepting us into your society, I guess.
It is not mine, for the love of God, it is not mine. I ended up in this thing by mistake and Aoife will tell you that.
Yeah, we had our committee last year was a bit scrambled. So I think it's definitely worked out for the best this year, that we have such a clear kind of coherent society and everyone is really dedicated to their roles. So we're really lucky this year.
Highs and lows. My high is getting my first published article out into the world. Crazy. I used to cry over Hamlet, and the fact that I have an article published that people can read, and I've had people like messaging me being like, Angela, it's actually half decent, is crazy to me. Absolutely crazy. And my low of this week, honestly, my motivation has just tanked. I don't know if it's just that time in the semester, because I'm a first year. I still don't really know that much, but I just feel like I don't want to do anything at all. I have so many assignments. I'm like, I don't want to do this. I no. So yeah, hoping that motivation will come back next week, because I'm on reading week. So I had no lectures. So I guess maybe that's why I had no motivation, because I had nowhere to be.
I think week 6 is definitely like the hump week of the semester. You really just kind of, the assignments start hitting, and it's for final years it's kind of application season for internships and traineeships. So I think we're definitely all right there with you, Angela, in terms of feeling a bit overwhelmed.
I think it's super hard though as well for first years to get used to that workload. It's so overwhelming if you're not used to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree with that, definitely. I am swamped, and I would rather not be swamped right now. So I'm hoping I'm hoping it's going to ease up over the next few weeks, but it's not fun.
Laura, what was your highlight?
Yeah, so my highlight for this week, honestly, was I gave myself a voluntary day off. On Tuesday, I skipped 3 lectures, and it was the first day I'd done that all semester. So to be honest, I'm quite proud of myself, but I absolutely needed it. Like, my brain was going so far into overdrive, it was insane. So like, I gave myself a little day off, a little self-care day. That is like the high of my week. And I think the low light of my week is like the same. It's week 6 and I'm exhausted and I have no reading week, but we're pushing through.
Well, I know my highlight of the week was definitely, well, I found it on part of my walk. So I think in my article, which I'll talk about later on, I talk about how I'm doing a virtual Camino over lockdown. So I'm walking the equivalent of the Camino de Santiago around Dublin. So I'm loving it so much. I'm getting to walk kind of to loads of different areas that I've never been before. But this week, I think on the weekend, I walked to the 40 foot in Dunleary because I'd never been there before. And as I was walking, I like to listen to podcasts and audiobooks, but the odd time I like to take a break and just listen to some music. And I discovered the song Welcome to the Black Parade by My Chemical Romance. And I'd never listened to them before in my whole life. And it came up in my suggested songs. I think I just skipped my 13-year-old emo phase completely. It came up, and the introductory bars, it was so intriguing, and the song just built and built and built, and I got to the end of it and I literally just had to stop in the middle of Black Rock and say, what the hell, my mind is literally blown. That was the most amazing experience of my whole life.
I can't believe you've had this awakening at like what, 22? 21?
I'm 20 now, and I should have had this 7 years ago.
Oh my God.
But I finally got that experience now, and I told everyone, I said, oh my God, have you heard this song? And they said, yeah. 15 years ago, we could cop on. You're so behind the times.
That is hilarious.
So that was definitely my high point, and my low point of the week actually came soon after that, because when I got to Dunleary, I realised that my phone was on 2% and I had no money, and I had brought my old Leap card. So I had to walk the whole way home. So that Saturday, I left my house at 10:30 and I got home at 6, and I walked 43 kilometres. Not by choice, completely. I was nearly in tears walking up the Ballymun Road. I was that wrecked. So definitely had to take a day off the next day. I was so tired.
That's insane.
For sure.
It was awful. It was so awful.
I mean, kudos to you for doing it in the first place. Like, wouldn't be me now.
Do you know, I love walking anyway, and it's kind of it's getting me out of the house, do you know, because if I wasn't doing it, if I didn't have something to work towards, I would be sat at this desk all day. So it's getting me out for 3 or 4 hours a day, and I can do my lectures as I'm walking, and I can just take notes on my notes app. So I love it. It's really, really good.
You were the same last year though. I remember we were at a pre-drinks last year, and we were like, one of the girls wasn't drinking and she was giving us a lift to Newbar, and she offered you a lift into town, and you were like, no, I'll walk. And we were literally like, where were we? It wasn't Glasnevin.
No, it was Beaumont.
We were in Beaumont. You're like, I'll walk into town.
Yeah, I see. The thing about Dublin is it's tiny. Dublin is so small, and people from Dublin don't realise that it's so easy to get everywhere by just walking or cycling. Like I would never get the bus into town. I live in Ballymun. And I say it to people and they're like, what? And it's only 6 kilometres into town. That's not far. That is not long at all. So definitely, I'd be up and down that road 3 times a day, every day, just headphones in, world out.
So my highlight was, it's going to sound very like mundane, but our new dining room table came on Monday from IKEA. Like, seriously, that is just, I love IKEA. I live 5 minutes from IKEA. I'm in IKEA every chance I get. And now that it's closed, I am very, very, very upset. And all I wanted was to buy the new dining room table. So it took 2 weeks to come. And now we are putting it together. We're going to finish putting it together when I'm done recording the podcast. And we will finally have a new dining room table that I bought myself with my money. And it makes me very happy. So that is definitely my high for the week, was getting the dining room table.
That's honestly a flex though. Buying home furniture is such a flex.
Honestly, I feel way more grown up.
That's just,
I'm 18 and I bought a table. And I'm just like, oh, can I actually be an adult now? Can I pay a bill or something? Like, should I like go crazy and pay a bill or something? Like, oh, I just feel like I could do anything now that I've bought this table. So that was my highlight of the week. My low light was last night when I got home from a socially distanced visit to my auntie. We were standing in the garden. It was very sad. Couldn't go and give her a hug, but we decided to just go anyway. And I got home, and you know what? I don't know whether it's a low light or a bit of like a moment, but like, you ever need to just cry and you just start crying and then you don't stop, and then you're like, why am I crying? I really shouldn't be, but like I needed to. And I think it was more like I think we all feel it, like it's week 6. I'm tired. I haven't got a reading week. I'm so swamped, and I'm doing a foreign language as well. So like a grammar hurts my brain, and I'm trying to learn tenses and agreements, and sometimes I'm just like, no, I have to stop now. So I think last night was definitely a point where I was like, listen, take a break. So I skipped my 9 a.m. It was a French class. It was a French class. We won't talk about it. I didn't go to my 9 a.m. and I was just like, you know what, that felt nice. So I think that was my low light, was having my, will I call it a bit of a mental breakdown? Yes, but look, it'll be grand, sure.
Here at HerCampus, we don't endorse skipping lectures, but we do if you absolutely.
It's self-care month.
I love that. That's great. I think all of our points are just so relatable as college students. You know, we all have that mental breakdown. Last week I had mine. Just my private story is just full of pictures of me crying.
Crying is so cathartic though.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's like a good sneeze. You feel so good afterwards. You feel relieved, like a weight off.
I get that.
Mm.
I get that.
Cleansing for the soul. It's like saging your body.
Yeah, it really is.
I like that. I'm going to use that. A cry is a sage of the body. I like it, Lora.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love that.
Inspirational quote right here.
Current favorites.
All right, current favorites. Mine might be a little bit strange, but when you hear me out, it will make sense. So last Saturday, I got stressed, so I decided to dye my hair pink. Now you might look at me and think, Angela, your hair is not pink. Well, I have curly hair, so there's no way on earth that my beautiful mother will let me bleach my hair. So I found these like drops, and they're called the Shine Drop It Semi-Permanent Hair Color. And you add them to your shampoo, and it's kind of like a hair mask, and you add it onto your hair, and then it's supposed to deposit pigments and then turn your hair whatever color. They have loads of colors. I got the blue one before lockdown, like lockdown number 1. And that worked really well because it turned my hair more of kind of like a navy color, and it looked really good. But the pink kind of turned my hair a purple kind of color, but I think it's because I dyed it once. I'm going to redo it this weekend again, and hopefully it's going to turn more of like a magenta rather than like a plum. So that's a favorite of mine. It doesn't damage your hair. It's just kind of like a hair mask because you put it in with your conditioner, and it's a bit of fun, honestly. It's great.
That sounds fab.
I might try that. I've curly hair too, and I bleached my hair once, dyed it pink, and I turned ginger. So when the dye came out, it stained my hair ginger. So I've wanted to dye my hair, but I might try that now. That's really cool, actually. I didn't know they existed.
I remember I dipped my toe into the world of semi-permanent hair dyes during the first lockdown, and it was just on the cusp of my big meltdown. It all came crashing down because I watched Lady Bird, and as soon as I watched it, I bought semi-permanent hair dye and pierced my own ears straight afterwards, just with a needle and an ice cube, and I pierced my ear 3 times, and I dyed my hair. Tried to, it didn't stick. And then since then, I think just my rebellious side has come out. Like since we've opened up, like this summer, I've gotten 3 tattoos. I have pierced my ears in just loads of different places at this stage. I have a 4th tattoo booked for after lockdown, and I'm literally just like taking all of my rebellious 20s energy and just putting it into right now. I think
that's because you didn't have your My Chemical Romance.
Stop, I know. It's all hitting me now, all my teenage rebellion.
That's amazing. So my favorite for this week is the Twilight body spray from Lush. Now, it's not something that you like spray on yourself. I find if I spray it on myself, it's like very overwhelming. I can't, like, it like tickles my nose, I sneeze, it's not good. But I spray it on my pillows because I literally have always had trouble sleeping. Since I was like 15 or 16, it's like a stressy kind of anxiety thing, I think, because it's only in the last like week or 2 that I like cannot sleep at all. But like I spray this, it smells like lavender and ylang ylang. I've no idea what that is, but I know that I like it. I spray it on my pillows, and I swear to God, it is like I'm asleep in like 5 seconds. It's like taking a pill, but it's not. And if you're having trouble sleeping, it's like the best money that you can spend because it's so good.
That sounds amazing.
Oh,
That's
I love it.
great.
I can't rave about it enough.
From Lush.
Lush, yeah.
Brill. I'll have to look into that.
They have the
I'll be
bath
buying
bomb
that.
as well. So if I'm like really struggling, I'll do like a whole thing. It's like a ritual, like the bath bomb, get the bath, relax, and I'm like spraying my room with all this spray, and then I'm asleep in like 4 seconds.
I love that.
Amazing.
I'm very passionate about sleep.
There's worse things to be passionate about, so fair play. Well, I know my favorite service at the moment is actually one I've been using for a while, because I was saying to the girls before we started recording that I just don't buy things anymore. I've just fallen out of love of kind of buying. I wouldn't buy clothes. I don't have an elaborate kind of skincare routine or anything like that. But I am absolutely, utterly addicted to podcasts. All I do is just listen to podcasts, and I have done since I was 15, I think, and I discovered Serial when I was in transition year. I was like, oh my God, and that was my gateway drug into podcasts. But my favorite service to use now is Patreon. So that is a platform, especially since lockdown, when a lot of artists and comedians especially, they wouldn't have been able to gig because of lockdown, and they still can't. The gig economy is completely just shut down at this stage. So it's just it gives me a chance to kind of support the artists whose work that I love and whose work I've been following for years. So I have 3 subscriptions on Patreon, and it's just €4 or €5 a month, and it goes such a long way. Like you're paying for their work, you're paying for the art that they put out, and I absolutely love it. And it gives me a bit of a boost as well, because I kind of know that I'm supporting them in any way that I can. So that's definitely my favorite service at the moment, and I would recommend anyone who likes podcasts and who has a favorite podcaster who has a Patreon to just even sign up for a month and just give them a $5 and then unsubscribe, but just to kind of show that you're supporting at this time. It's really good. There's loads on it at this stage, and you get extra content as well. So for example, like I'm a big fan of Tony Cantwell, and he's a comedian from Dublin, but he has a podcast that comes out every week on Apple Podcasts, but then on Patreon he has 2 extra podcasts every week as well, and it's just something to look forward to, because I can't get enough of his content. So it's nice to kind of get extra while also supporting him. So I would really, really, really recommend, if you had an extra $5 to spare a month, just to throw it to your favorite artist if they have a Patreon.
Sustainable queen.
Honestly,
thank you.
She walks everywhere. She doesn't buy skincare. She uses Patreon. Really, Aoife, you're just what I aspire to be, because
stop you're flattering me now.
No, because my favorite of the week is a skincare product, and now, to be fair, it is pricey, but when I tell you about it, I literally couldn't recommend it more. It's the Liz Earle face wash, the hot cloth face wash. I literally cannot use anything else, and it's so bad because it's actually really expensive, but it's worth every single penny, because my grandmother used Liz Earle, my mom uses it, so like there's my mom and I in it. We're both using it, so we go through it quicker, so we spend more money. But all you do is you get this wet cloth, you put it under hot water, it comes with the cloth as well, you're not just buying the face wash, and you just it's like a foam. It's not even like a big foam, it's like a creamy foam, and you just rub it on, and then you wipe it off with the cloth. And then you see all these people in them ads, and they're like splashing their faces with the water, and it's just, you're wasting water, and you don't look good doing it in your own bathroom. But then you actually get this cloth and you rub it off, and it just leaves my skin so soft, so smooth, and it's a bit expensive, and it smells really nice. I mean, I'm trying to really sell it to everybody here. It smells so good. You really should buy it, But then I use the toner as well. And that smells like citrusy, orangey, spicy. It doesn't burn, but like it's citrusy, orangey, spicy, and it's nice. And you can get like this eye tonic as well that you put in the fridge. I mean, I wouldn't have put it in the fridge, but I was told to. Basically, I'm advertising Liz Earle. If they hear this, please sponsor me. I love your products. Just give me all of it. So my favorite thing is just the brand of Liz Earle forever. That's it.
You're 3 seconds away from taking away my marketing degree. Like, that was brilliant. Like, not even me in a marketing degree could sell a product like that. That was amazing.
Oh no, I was just like, oh, that's how I got all my sales in my old job. I was a salesperson, so I just pestered people into buying phones. So like, I mean, I can sell you anything.
Liz Earle always reminds me of Zoella in like 2014 because she used to always talk about it in her halls. Yeah, very
or that or the Kate Moss red lipstick she'd always go on about as well. Remember, it was like 103 or 105, and I think it was in a red tube. She was my childhood. So, and she'd always be like, I'm loving this Kate Moss lipstick. Did I go buy it? Yeah, I did.
Oh.
Yeah, and I plastered that on my thin lips.
Lovely lips, Lora.
They're so thin.
I was like 12 and I thought I looked the bomb.com and my little teen disco with my Kate Moss lipstick.
That was me too. You and me both, Angela. I was upset. I still have 2 Girl Online books in my bookshelf, and I'm an 18-year-old young woman with YouTuber books in my bookshelf. So I mean, to each their own, but I can tell you something for nothing. They might need to pop off to my younger cousin or something at this stage.
For sure. Well, that's a good way to lead on to literature that's actually good for once and talk about our articles. Because we're a magazine.
Yay.
Woo!
I adore that segue.
I always love a good transition. There has to be one.
Articles of the week.
I guess I'll start off with my articles since, first article over here. I'm not the strongest writer, so I genuinely wanted something that was kind of easier to write. And when Emily pitched the dry skin article that I read about, I was like, I'm so taking this. I have dry skin. I can totally relate to this article and definitely give it a good bash. And it was so interesting to research why we actually get dry skin in the winter, because I did a lot of science subjects in school, which is kind of ironic because I do business in college now. I don't know why I didn't pick science, but anyway, I combusted a slide of bacteria on my work experience in a lab, so that's why I didn't choose science. Full on. They were like, hold it over the Bunsen burner for like 3 seconds, and then 3 minutes later, it's on fire. So
it do be like that sometimes.
Maybe business was a better choice. But yeah, I just talked about how evaporation works and how our skin dries out because evaporation increases. And then I recommended some products because recently I've been watching Skincare by Hiram. I don't know if you guys seen him on TikTok.
I love him so much. He is my favorite person on the planet.
Yeah, and I invested in some CeraVe moisturizing cream, which is just brilliant, beautiful product, and some hyaluronic acid. I basically bought my own recommendations, which is kind of fun, but sure, why not? And I've had a few messages from people being like, oh, it's half decent, like it's a good article. Like I used to get people's essay plans and write them, but just worse. And I actually wrote this like article by myself, and people were like, whoa, you didn't use my essay plan for once. So there we go. That's my article of the week.
Angela, I was the one who edited that article, actually. I got your art. I edited your dry skin article, and I have to tell you, it was fantastic. You can't be beating yourself down over it, and you can't be saying like, oh, I'm not that good of a writer, because I didn't change anything in it. And like, I think that's something that's really making my job really easy this year is the sheer like standard of writing that people are coming out with. Like, Angela, it was fantastic. I loved it. I don't even have dry skin. And I was like, that is really interesting. I could probably use that. Like, it was really good. So don't be beating yourself down over it, because it was really fantastic. And I loved reading it as well.
Oh, you're hyping me up too much, honestly.
I want to hear you say you were like, it was like a half decent article again either. Like, don't be like putting yourself down, and like doing these articles as well is like the only way you're going to get better at it. So like, take compliments, girl. Jesus Christ.
Oh, that means so much from a journalism student. Like, I would never.
It doesn't mean that much, I promise you. So I suppose I'll go into my article of the week. So this week I did an article on how self-care can become self-sabotage. I took this article this week because it's something that I've fell into before as well, where I just like have gotten assignments in late because I've just been skipping class like I did today, like I did this week. But yeah, I took it because I think it's a topic that's so pushed, I think mainly onto women on Instagram, that we should like self-care is just like bubble baths and bath bombs, and it's not. It's like making sure that you get up and go to your responsibilities, and you're prioritizing the right things, and you're giving yourself the best chance of like having a good life. So it's like taking, like I took Tuesday off college because I genuinely needed it, but I'm the kind of person that has to be very conscious to not let that become a habit where I take Wednesday, Thursday and Friday off and then I have the week off, because that is going to like ruin the semester if I do that. Do you know what I mean? So I gave some tips, and I gave like some kind of like real hard truths in that article that I felt like I needed to hear, and I feel like if I needed to hear it, someone else did too.
I loved it.
Oh,
I just loved all the articles this week. I loved it. It was fantastic.
Oh yeah, if anybody wants to read these articles, they're on the HerCampus DCU website. Is that right? Yeah. And also, I'm going to give a little shameless plug to our social media. You can find us at HerCampus DCU. Yes, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So that's where you can get all of our articles. And our social media girls are amazing. And our social media is so aesthetically pleasing. So go check it out.
Amy and Emily are absolutely killing it this year.
Seriously, it's fantastic. I want my Instagram to look like that, and it doesn't. So I'll just get them to do it for me.
Well, I'll go on into my articles this week. I actually had 2 articles out this week. I as I said before, I'm writing a series of personal essays on my virtual Camino journey. So every week, I would just kind of put down my musings and the things that I've learned that week as I'm going on my walks. So say, for example, like walking off, like for one of the days, I walked around Phoenix Park, and I left my earphones at home because I said, no, do you know what? I'm going to just be at one with myself and at one with nature. So I just took myself and I went off and went for a walk, and I ended up in Farmley, which I'd never even heard of before, in Phoenix Park. It was on the far side, and it was just walking through with the ducks and the pond and the donkeys and the house, and I had a lovely overpriced cappuccino sitting out on a park bench. And I kind of just wrote about how I was thinking about how lucky I am to enjoy my own company, and I'd be very much a lone wolf. I would just go to a restaurant on my own and have a 3-course dinner and a glass of wine and have a ball. I went on holidays to Westport on my own this summer and just climbed Kilpatrick and did the Greenway and got an Airbnb and went swimming every morning and came home. And I know so few of my friends would be able to even go to the bathroom on a night out on their own. And it's really, it's a pity as well, because it brings me so much joy to just, especially at a time like this when so many people obviously don't have a network around them. It's so nice to be able to just kind of sit with a book or sit with my own thoughts. And then in my other article, I wrote about virtual date ideas for during lockdown for couples who can't see each other now during this lockdown. And I was thinking it was inspired by, in some ways, by myself, and in other ways by my friends. But I've gone through I've gone through a few different virtual dates over the last few months, and some of them have definitely worked better than others. So like, for example, I remember I had a date a few weeks ago with a lad that I'm seeing. I won't go into any more detail on the record, but we had a virtual candlelit dinner. Aww. So the 2 of us agreed on something to cook. So we made a full dinner, and got all dressed up and literally just had the laptop in front of us and had a glass of wine and had a shared Spotify playlist that we just played, and it was really, really romantic. It was really lovely. And yeah, and it was actually inspired by my friend as well, who she was living with her boyfriend in Dublin, and now they're living apart. So I kind of sent it to her and I said, you go read that, get some inspiration and stop crying down the phone about how much she was doing.
And now my article for the week is a very wholesome thing about men's health.
My God.
Of course.
My article this week was about how women can get involved in the Movember campaign. And for those who don't know, Movember is a worldwide campaign that are working to support men's health, men's mental health, because men are likely to die 6 years earlier than women. Just because they don't get things checked out, they're very stubborn and they don't like talking about mental health and things like that, because toxic masculinity and things like that. But it was just ways that women can get involved. So like myself, I'm trying, and I say trying because I'm very far behind. I'm trying to do 60k this month. So walking 60k, raising a bit of money for them as well. I've got a load of my friends on board, so we're all trying to get a bit of money together for Movember. And yeah, it's just a great way to get involved, doing a little bit of walking. Or I saw a girl I know, she's cycling 100 kilometers, and there's people doing trivia nights where they're charging entry like a $5 or something, and it goes towards a raffle prize or something, and then all the rest of the money goes to Movember. So there's so many ways you can get involved, and I think it's such an amazing charity to get involved with, and it's very close to my heart as well. So I mean, why wouldn't I write an article about it? Because I think it's brilliant.
November is probably one of my favorite times of year though, because your mates are either walking around looking gas or you realize they're really good looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when they all shave their heads. Sometimes I know to look at them like,
oh my God, no, there was a period of time in my school where all the guys shaved their head, and some of them looked like plums and some of them looked quite nice. But there was just a phase where all of them did it, and I was like, oh no.
It's better than the mullet trend that's going on at the moment.
Don't even talk to me about the fucking mullets. They're awful.
Some of them do look good, but I don't know what it is. They terrify me. Like, they are scary. I have told my boyfriend's like, I'm gonna grow a mullet, and I said, no, you're not. That is not happening. They are awful. They actually freak me out, and I don't know why. It's like, no. Thinking about them is just like, ugh.
I think you have to have a very like alt aesthetic to pull it off, but you can't like, I don't know. There's a certain type of man that can like, and they do, and it's like, it's good. It's like chef's kiss, but like a whole tirade of mullets walking down like Grafton Street would freak me out. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I feel that.
All right, girls, that's a good place to conclude our episode on I
think on the topic of mullets, definitely.
Man.
All right, be sure to listen to our weekly episodes that come out every Sunday. Make sure you go follow us on the Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. It's all in the show notes below. And guys, you'll be joined by a few other committee members next week, so get excited. All right, everybody say bye.
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 Bye.